Look, I'm not saying that what just happened in Florida was the dumbest move of the campaign, but it's not far off. This plane carrying a pro-Trump banner flew above Taylor Swift's Miami concert, and, well, take a look for yourself to understand why this was a not great idea. That banner read, Trump 2024, ready for it, cat lady?
Okay, we can read what the sign said, but how do we know Trump even did that?
MAGA. Now, this goes without saying, but Taylor Swift is the most popular musician in the world, and her Eras Tour is the most successful tour in history, and her fans who attend that tour are really, really devoted, and Taylor has a special propensity for activating those fans, which I'll get to in a moment. But all of that is to say, perhaps trolling Taylor Swift and her loyal fans outside of her concert in Miami isn't such a great strategy when the election is in 2 weeks and polls show that the race is as close as it gets right now. In fact,
all right, so a few comments I have here. First of all, that concert he said is in Miami, which I'm pretty sure Florida is already a Republican state. So Trump already won that state. Second of all, Taylor Swift already endorsed Kamala Harris. So I'm not sure why Trump would play nice with her. I mean, I wouldn't play this mean and dirty and make enemies. But at the same time, what's the point of playing nice? She's already endorsed her. And most likely the people in that concert are probably not going to vote for Trump. And Trump is probably going to win Florida. So I don't see it as a fatal mistake, as the title calls it.
It's not like Taylor's fans can't do anything about it. The Florida Democratic Party and the Swifties for Kamala voter outreach group are making the most of Taylor's 3 shows in Miami, hosting listening parties, doing statewide canvassing, phone and text banking, working with Snapchat for pro-voting Taylor Swift filters, which includes a link to iwillvote.com, meaning given all of the ways that Democrats and Swift-aligned advocacy groups are working to convert fans into voters, perhaps it's not the smartest idea in the world to prod those same people with flyover planes attacking them. Just
again, the state of Florida has been Republican, I want to say since like the 1950s. And my only problem with this guy is he's so extreme and one-sided on everything. And I'm not here to say that Trump is an angel, but come on, man, this guy is so one-sided, it's kind of funny.
Just, for starters. And of course, all of this is in addition to Taylor's biggest move, her decision to endorse Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
I don't think you know about this, but this was just posted online by a woman you might have heard of whose name is Taylor Swift. And she has posted this online along with a photo of her cat. And I'm going to read to you what she just posted. Quote, like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research.
Whoa. I'm going to forward this part because this is old. I mean, I want to say this is like a month old. Why is he posting about this now?
By Trump himself, because Donald Trump decided it was so necessary to lie and deceive his supporters with this post of AI-generated Taylor Swift supporters alongside the words, I accept from Trump, as if he was actually accepting the endorsement of Taylor or her fans. Well, suddenly it became necessary for Taylor to speak out. Again, had he not felt the insatiable need to lie always, he might have saved himself from contending with the world's biggest musical artist coming out against him. But because he has no self-control, here we are. It's also worth reminding everyone that her endorsement of Kamala drove more than 405,000 visitors to vote.gov in just the 24 hours after it was posted. Now, one would think that Trump would tread carefully here, given this.
And again, if I'm remembering correctly, I think she endorsed her after the debate, which I want to say was like a month ago at this point. So this is old news, Brian. I'm disappointed in you.
This isn't exactly his strongest demographic. Based on the latest Harvard poll, Harris is leading Trump among young voters by a 31-point margin. And what's worse for Trump? There's a significant enthusiasm gap between young Democrats and Republicans. 74% of young Democrats say they will definitely vote, compared with only 60% of young Republicans saying they'll definitely vote. And it's even more pronounced among young female voters, who the Harvard poll found supported Kamala over Trump 70-23. That is a 47-point margin, which is staggeringly high. And that may or may not have something to do with the fact that Donald Trump will strip the entire generation of their bodily autonomy, which doesn't exactly seem to be landing with young women who seem to value being able to decide what happens with their own body. And let's be clear, if those numbers hold up, that will signify a huge swing left among young voters from 2020. In 2020, Pew Research shows that Biden had a 24-point lead over Trump among 18 to 29-year-old voters. And yet, despite all of this, still Trump will keep up his attacks against Taylor because he is the smallest, most delicate man in the world. In fact, listen to what he said about Taylor Swift on Fox and Friends.
Out of nowhere, after the debate last night, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris.
Wow, you see that? It was right after the debate. I was right.
Harris, what do you think?
Well, I actually like Mrs. I actually like Mrs. Mahomes much better, if you want to know the truth. She's a big Trump fan.
I think that's the wife of the famous quarterback Patrick Mahomes, and his wife seems like she's a Trump supporter.
I was not a Taylor Swift fan. It was just a question of time. She couldn't. You couldn't possibly endorse Biden. You look at Biden, you couldn't possibly endorse him. But she's a very liberal person. She seems to always endorse a Democrat, and she'll probably pay a price for it at the in the marketplace.
Probably worth noting that within one day of him having made that comment on air, Taylor went to the Video Music Awards and took home the most awards and broke the record for most wins of any solo artist in history. So yeah, just a hunch, but something tells me that Taylor is probably not gonna pay a price for it in the marketplace. In fact, she's so certain that she won't that she's continuing her voter registration pleas. Here she is on stage at the VMAs. So I think Taylor probably understands full well that her career is going to be fine without kowtowing to the guy who ensured that women would lose their reproductive freedom. And to that point, Taylor, along with Billie Eilish and Charlie X.
See, such strong language, like no one's losing their freedom. And also, I think the strong language could go both ways, because I think Trump doesn't care that airplane flew with that banner on, even if he did it himself, because he's like, oh, I'm going to win Florida anyways. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. And again, let's just talk about Brian. Let's talk about Brian for a second. Hold on. Let me get close with you guys. Okay, so this Brian Tyler Cohen, he's been blowing up on YouTube lately. He's making a lot of money. He's getting a lot of views, and I respect him for the hustle. But let's be real, his titles are so extreme. His rhetoric is so extreme and one-sided, and that's the reason why he's blowing up. Because unfortunately, people that are more level-headed, more in the middle, they usually don't do good on social media. Social media really recommends and pushes polarities. So the reason that he is doing that, well, it's because of his extreme rhetoric on one side. He's just like all the Trump supporters on the other end who think Trump's an angel. It's hilarious to me. It really is, because on one side, he talks about how much he hates Trump supporters for how crazy they are. But he does the same thing on the opposite end, right? Regardless, and look, he's saying, oh, Trump lies nonstop. I mean, look, at the very best, he says stuff in bad faith as well. He knows he says stuff that's not 100% true, just because who wants to talk about the subtleties and things, right? Regardless, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. See you in the next video. Peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe.